Hey guys, Rich Rotogo here, back with another video. So I've been thinking about ways I want to try to grow my channel outside of the standard kind of haul videos and or collection showcase videos. So I came up with the idea to kind of go back through the major characters that I've been into over the years and kind of explain a little bit more about my obsession with them, about my interest in them, and how I came to like them. So I figured I'd start with my newest obsession, which is Superman. He's actually kind of my oldest and newest obsession, and I'll show you evidence of that, very funny evidence of that here in just a few minutes. But over the last year, I've been putting together a Superman run from post-crisis to the Doomsday era, or more like the beginning of 1996. I think I'm going to stop right at the beginning of 1996. And while I have most of the run, I've got about 21 issues left to go. So while I have been putting that together, my interest in Superman has been growing quite substantially. And that is mainly due, or my interest getting back into Superman has been mainly to do with my daughter. My daughter was born 10 months ago today, and before she was actually born, we found out that she was going to be born with quite a few, I'll just say, blemishes. She has what's known as vascular association, which in a nutshell means she has several things wrong with her. So she has, for instance, one kidney. She has some skeletal issues. She was born with a club foot. So when my wife and I found this out back in, I believe it was right at the beginning of March last year, not gonna lie, our hearts kind of sunk, and we weren't in quite, a very good space for a couple of weeks. And in order to sort of pull myself out of the mire, I needed to find something that was going to, something I could rally behind, something I could get behind, and show myself, my family members, and Faye herself, when she was eventually born in a few months after that, that as a family, we have the strength to move on, to deal with what we need to deal with all of her issues, and basically just kind of needed a symbol to get behind. And I mean, you can't go wrong with Superman, right? Like, Superman is, he carries the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's the ultimate symbol for good in the world, at least to me. And so it was a no-brainer that the crest of Superman was going to be our symbol, our family symbol. So what I did was I went out and bought a Superman t-shirt, and I wore that Superman t-shirt on the day my daughter was born. I've worn it on the days of her subsequent surgeries. She's had numerous surgeries since her birth already in her short 10 months. And I'll continue to wear it. We have the Superman crest on both of our cars. We have it pretty much everywhere in the house. We've bought onesies for her. We've bought little t-shirts for her. So the idea of Superman, Supergirl, the symbol of Superman, has really become like our family crest, as much as it is, Kal-El's or Clark's, or whatever you want to say. So that's really sort of the impetus behind me getting back into Superman. Now, I do have some proof that as a kid, Superman was one of my favorite superheroes. Here's an early picture of me and my sister on our front porch at my parents' house. And as you can see, I'm wearing a Superman t-shirt in this. And then at some point, I owned a Superman raincoat. And at some point, I also had a Superman jumpsuit, sleep suit, whatever you want to call these. So Superman really was, and as you can tell, sorry, side note, this sheet is one of the original, 1978 Superman sheets that I still own. Superman really was my first comic book hero. I have pictures of the door to my bedroom having the Christopher Reeves Superman movie poster on the door. Sadly, I don't really remember any of this because I'm approaching old age. But he was my first, and now he's my newest. So after my daughter was born, I started going to STL Comics, which at the time he just had a couple of booths with a bunch of boxes of back issues in the antique mall that he's in. And I started picking through his books for other titles, not necessarily Superman, but I always kept coming across Superman 82. And I grew up as a Marvel guy. I didn't really pay too much attention to DC outside of The Flash, a brief stint with like the Suicide Squad, Deadshot, Green Lantern every once in a while. But Superman was really, really off my radar because I was just so into Marvel at the time. So I completely missed the death of Superman. Well, I wouldn't say I missed it, I just wasn't very much into it. So it passed me by. And so as I was digging through these boxes, I had a soft spot for the chromium foil fancy covers, and this one kept popping up. And so I took a chance on it and started looking at it and realized that it was like the tail end of that series. And so I started getting the earlier reign of Superman, and then finally, right before my daughter's second surgery, I went ahead and got a copy of the now famous Death of Superman trade paperback. And I read that while we were waiting for her surgery to be over. And at that point, I was pretty much hooked. I was all in on Superman. The symbol and the mythos was pretty much ingrained in me at that point. So from that point on, I spent a large part of the summer starting my run and just collecting the Superman titles, both action adventures and the mainline Superman title. And through different trips, different cons that I went to, I was able to pick up some of the more now famous books. Obviously, everyone knows what this one is. Got a really clean, really good copy of this in, let's see, where was I? Santa Cruz, California. Comic shop out there had a really nice, clean copy of this. And most recently, Man and Superman. I really enjoyed this one shot, I guess you would say, by Marv Wolfman. And I've since bought the hardcover of this one as well. I was so taken with this story. But yeah, so I don't really have any deeper thoughts than that. Superman really is my current favorite. I'm really looking forward to finishing this run and then actually reading the run. I've kind of hit a roadblock on that because I'm missing a few issues. But the last year has been a whirlwind for me and my family, and me reading Superman has really sort of given me a grounding and to some degree an escape to where if times are tough, I can open up any Superman issue, even, if he's having a particularly bad day. And to me, like, any Superman issue is a good issue to read, especially when we've had bad days, when my daughter's had a bad day. Just right before I go to bed, if I crack open a Superman issue and even just kind of thumb through it and see what's happening, it just makes my day a little bit brighter. So that's about it, guys. That's my background into why I'm currently collecting Superman. A lot of you guys are probably like, well, this was 20 years ago. I read this 20 years ago. But for me, all this stuff is really brand new, and it's been great. I've been excited to read everything that I've read. I've, enjoyed particular writers like Dan Jurgens and here Marv Wolfman, and it's just been a blast reading Superman. So thanks, guys. I will have other characters at some point. I plan to do one for the Flash. I think I'll do one for the G.I. Joe comic series. And then, of course, Thor, because he was my first sort of major comic book love, I guess you'd say. So I appreciate you hanging with me, listening to my story. Appreciate all your guys' support. I've been getting a lot of subs lately. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed, who's watched my videos. I'm really trying to grow this not only for myself and for the community, but also for my daughter as kind of a record of who her dad is, why he's doing these YouTube videos, and to just kind of show her sort of the history of me and my comic book fandom, I guess. So, all right, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.